I really like that. I think it's well worth it. Don't forget that if you're going to use the bureaus, that you must send some money to the incoming bureau at Willamette DXCC Club, the DX Club in Washington. They handle the entire 7th area, so your incoming QSL cards get sent to them. They separate them all out into their individual hams and mail them directly to you. So you have to pay for the postage from Washington to get it back to you. Don't forget that. Or if you want your QSL cards. Yes, questions?
Have you thought about using just an email direct to the other person rather than using direct mail or a bureau?
Yes, there are some electronic QSL pieces that are available for that. The only one that's accepted for ARL awards is Logbook of the World. We're going to talk about that here in a second. So electronic QSLing is taking over without a doubt. On the next band that I was working on for DXCC on 30 meters, only 3 of the contacts were by paper. All the rest of them were electronic. Any other questions? Another question? Yeah.
A lot of the contests don't they have, like my first DX contact was Tango 32 Charlie. It was a DX expedition up Christmas Island. They had after the fact, they put all their contacts on the website, so you can look up and make sure that you were a confirmed contact. And they have instructions on how to send them and stuff like this.
Yes, and most of the time the DXpeditions will do that. They will leave off some critical information, like they'll say, yes, you made a contact, but they will not put the date and time on it. You have to supply that, and then they match it up. That way, they prevent someone from fishing for contacts in the log, which unfortunately happens. And I've had requests for people, mainly in Europe, they'll send me a letter, envelope that, I heard you talking to this station the other day. I'm collecting cards. Will you send me your QSL card? You know, well, no, I didn't make a contact with you. So you'll get those occasionally. Yeah, and they'll happen. Do yourself a favor. Preserve the integrity of the DXCC program. Make it something that is valuable to us. Yes.
Well, how do you handle the SWIs then?
The shortwave listeners will send you a shortwave listener card, and then when you send them back the card, make sure you're specific that you do not send it back to his call sign, with his call sign being the recipient on it as the station you contacted, but the station that he said you worked for. Most logging programs have the ability to print out labels for shortwave listeners that does it appropriately for it. So in other words, he says that, like I just got a shortwave listener report from a guy in Germany. Said I talked to a guy in Italy, and so yes, I sent him a card, but the card showed that I contacted a station in Italy, not him. Any other questions? No? There's some good ones out there. The VP6DI was the first one. Oh, one other thing I want to mention is when you get your QSL card back from the Bureau, and assuming that you need it for a credit for an ARL award, you'll need to fill out applications at the ARL and have the cards checked. You do not need to send them to the ARL to have them checked to verify that they haven't been modified or stuff like that. We have a card checker right here in the room. Gerald, raise your hand. He is credited from the ARL, and they'll be able to do those card checks. You too, Bob?
Don't make any
Questions?
marks than sure.
Oh, yeah. Do not make any changes, modifications, changes, because if it looks like it's been altered, it will get rejected. So keep them pristine, exactly the way you got them. AP2AI, he's on the air fairly regularly. So if you got a good antenna, he has got a very modest station. He's in Pakistan. And so you'll catch him on the air occasionally too. The Annobon Island was a DXpedition that was there. Vietnam, you'll hear on the air fairly regularly. This one, if you're right, GT1Y, that was my first Mongolian card. I knew I had to have a station for Mongolia in my log after my first experience with that. Maybe you'll find some new ones. Sometimes you get opportunities to make contacts that you normally would not be able to make. Like right now, and has been for several years now, contacts in and out of Syria are impossible. YK1AO, Omar, he is one of 3 licensed radio operators in Syria. He is director of the electronics program at the university in Damascus. There was an agreement between Brigham Young University to go down there and teach them some hearing aid pieces and stuff like that. I don't know all the details of it. But that just happened to be a ham that lived in Provo, Utah. And so he went down there and arranged schedules for all of us in the club to make that contact in person. So all of us that needed Syria got on the air and made a contact with Syria. And then, since Richard was in Syria when the contacts were made, the next time he went down there, he got all the cards and hand carried it back to the U.S. court. You'll get opportunities like that to make those. It's like, it was interesting. It wasn't about a year after this contact was made that I actually got a card from Syria through the Bureau, no less. It showed up the long way around. Not from this guy, but from one of the other hands that was licensed there from several years back. But it happens. You'll get some interesting ones too, like, well, you can't see the call sign. This one is washed out. V63. V63KU. This is a historical location. This was the reverse of Pearl Harbor. This is where the American Air Force caught the Japanese fleet and sunk all the Japanese ships in Truck Lagoon. It's a popular diving spot. Mauritania is in Africa. It's an Islamic Republic, and of course Finland there. You'll catch the guys. The Finns are very active on the air. D-expeditions are common. D68C still holds the record for the number of QSOs that are completed during a D-expedition. It's a little island that's tucked in between Madagascar and Africa. There. You did some amazing things there. The ZD9IR is Tristan da Cunha. Anybody hear of Tristan da Cunha, little island? It's one of the sister islands, Gow Island, next to it. But that one was, that one's via long path too. You'll catch those that you'll not be able to hear them the shortest distance. You have to turn your antenna and point it the other way. Bhutan, who knows where that's at? It's close to China. It's tucked in between China and Bangladesh. Little place in there for it.